What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of the More Than ADHD podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Mayer, certified ADHD coach, neuroinclusion consultant, and master facilitator. We bring you insights so that you can live a better life and realize you're more than just your ADHD. Here at Ryan Mayer Coaching, it's our mission to help others like us with ADHD to live a better life, to step up into their potential, and to take actionable steps towards their goals. And on the corporate side, what we do with the neuroinclusion consulting is being able to help business leaders just like you to be able to see the invisible potential that's hiding in plain sight with your employees. We're bringing you value in every single episode. Whether you've listened to all of our episodes or if this is the first time tuning in for you, I want to let you know you are welcome here. You belong here. It's a revolving door, but guess what? You can come back anytime. And speaking of revolving door, today, you're going to learn by the end of this episode how to leverage the revolving door of your body to help to regulate your emotions and your mindset. One of the goals here at Ryan Mayer Coaching is to help you to break free of uncertainty. And that's also what you're going to get from today's episode sponsor, ADHD Online. ADHD Online wants to help you to break free of uncertainty of, do I have ADHD? You can use this code, CoachRyan50 for $50 off and get a diagnosis for ADHD within as little as 12 hours. So check out ADHDonline.com to get your diagnosis today. All right, now let's get to the good stuff. Today, I am welcoming to the podcast, doing a drum roll on this side. This isn't even a sound effect. But I'm so pumped for this episode because one of my good friends and colleagues in the coaching space, someone who I've known for several years and I know is having a big impact on my life and the life of those that he works with and serves, Coach Derek Baynton. I'm so excited for you to get a chance to learn from him today. What's up, Coach?
Hey, Coach. How you doing there,
Welcome.
Ryan? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Would love to know, Derek, just a little bit about you and what brought you to the show today.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Ryan. Well, you brought me to the show today. So again, yeah, that. I appreciate that. That's why I'm here. So a little bit about me. I'm originally from Michigan. I'm a Midwesterner like Ryan, but I currently live in New York. I live in the Hudson Valley. I moved out this way out of college, and have been in the technology consulting kind of space for the last decade, and recently through the help of some wonderful people, some people that might be here today. I saw a great opportunity to be able to step away from that and be with my kids full time. They were very young at the time. They were ages 2 or 3 and 4 or 5, right around that age when I made the transition. And it's been incredible. I've learned a ton from them, and during that process, I also was kind of figuring out part-time where I was going to be putting my energy and focus into to kind of what's next for my career. I had some experience in coaching within the technology space, kind of coaching early stage founders on their sales go-to-market journey. And I really, really enjoyed that process. And I also, again, benefited some phenomenal ADHD coaching to help me understand myself and the some of the roadblocks and challenges that I was navigating, and make some bigger decisions that were more aligned with who I was and who I wanted to be. And I wanted to do more of that. I really enjoyed that process. That working one-on-one, being able to see that transformation in others. And so I've been doing that part-time for the last 2 years. And throughout that process, I also did some additional self-discovery work, some additional practice work in the world of breathwork. And so we're going to be talking a lot about that today, I'm sure, I hope, but also a certified breathwork instructor as well.
Well, yeah, and that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask, because I know that a lot of our friends who are fellow coaches tune in, and I love that you chose this area of focus for your coaching practice. So what was it for you that made you decide, breath work is the thing?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, it was a journey. There were many things that happened kind of along the way. It started kind of as a curiosity, as something to do to maybe naturally manage some of the challenges and symptoms of ADHD. In terms of like improve focus, improve sleep. Like I just heard, like, okay, yeah, breath work can be a good tool for that. I'm like, oh well, why? Like, okay, well, breath work is like basically the remote control for your nervous system. And so if you want to upregulate, downregulate, you can actually do that with the breath. And so like, oh, that's really interesting. Let me like learn more about that and see how that's possible. So I started like looking for breathing exercises to do. And I was, listening to some like YouTube videos or found some guy on Spotify that was awesome. Pura Vida, I think is his name.
I
He's great.
remember. Yeah, I remember you sent me that.
But yeah, I was like, wow, this is really cool. But it was still kind of just like it was like the many other interests or things that we often have, kind of like meditation. Like, oh yeah, I know I want to meditate more, but I wasn't doing it like every day. I just kind of knew of it. And then there was this breathwork journey at like one of the local yoga classes, and I'm like, all right, I'm getting more breathwork. Let me try that out. I got into that like verge of I was like about to go in a really dark place, like with as the breathing like amped up, I had that like full body like fear, like pending doom sort of experience. Whoa. And then the guide or the woman came over to me at the time, and like I could feel her hand on my chest and telling me to just like slow down. I guess I was like really hyperventilating, like much too fast. And so as soon as I did, all of a sudden I just felt like this wave of just like calm throughout my whole body. And then I just like went deep into this, meditative state that I've never felt. And then as that journey continued, it lasted about, 30, 40 minutes. It was just like such an inner peace that I hadn't really felt. And also this like profound release of emotions like flooded through my body. I was like crying hysterically and laughing hysterically at the same time.
You weren't like under the influence of anything when you're
No.
doing this. So like, cause I know I've heard of different, different things that people can do. And so this was totally just you're breathing and you had this profound experience.
And I mean, amazing. The part, if you want to get like scientific about it, like the parts of your brain, your pineal gland, like there's a part that's like activated. It's a similar process that happens with psychedelics. And so, yeah, it was pretty wild. I was having like, visions of talking to like former, or relatives that had since passed. I was having like, vivid interactions with them. It was crazy.
Well, that sounds good. I'll have that. Could we, I'm just kind of thinking, could we do, I mean, not that you are at the level of the person who did that, but I was thinking just for the audience, do you think we could work with something that we could try one out maybe at the beginning and at the end, just to see what this whole breath work, I'm using air quotes for anyone who's just listening. This whole breath work thing is all about?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love to do that. That's
do I need to, all kidding aside, do I need to sit or can I stand still while I'm doing it, or what's...
You can stand. So okay. I'll also preface it with like, that's a very specific style of breath work. It is not the style of breath work that I do, nor the style of breath work that I typically recommend. However, if you're somebody that has like, there's some like unprocessed like trauma, like that you feel is kind of stuck in your body. Like that's, if you're looking for one of those like more somatic, like healing type of experiences, this can be a great modality for that. That kind of breath work can be a good tool for that. However, the general problem that most of us have day to day, and that we're in our constant like go state, is that we are breathing too much, and as a result, like we're not getting good, like adequate oxygen delivery throughout our body.
So you're saying that we're actually breathing too much. So most people are breathing more than they need to be, so they're not getting enough oxygen?
Yeah, exactly. And this is one of those areas where it's like we could totally shift this conversation and get like way more into the scientific side of this. But in short, like our body is trying to stay in homeostasis, stay in balance. And the way it does that is through this balance of blood gases, of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And so we breathe too much, and as a result, we're offloading a lot of CO2, and therefore the levels of CO2 in our body are much lower than is likely optimal. We kind of have this idea that like oxygen good, CO2 bad, like, but it's not that way at all. Like we need carbon dioxide in our body in order for oxygen to be released from the blood and into the tissues. That's the scientific, explanation for that is called the Bohr effect. It's named after this Danish scientist that discovered this in the early 1900s. But hemoglobin, which is found in red blood cells, that's what carries oxygen, and it needs carbon dioxide in order to release that oxygen into the blood. Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of getting back to what I was saying before in terms of like over breathing, like that type of breath work is a great experience, but it's typically not what we need, because we're usually over breathing, and we're over breathing because of this like constant go state in our world, by all the notifications, all the things that are happening, right? And what we actually really need is to slow down our breath. We're like all gas and no brakes, and especially us with ADHD, like we understand this very well, right? So I kind of see like breathing as like, like the breathing part of my coaching business is like the brake specialist, right? Like helping learn some tools to slow down.
I'm so glad that you're on the show today, because I think people need to learn more about breathing and why it's important. You know what? Before we dive into anything else, do you think you could give us just like a quick little exercise for someone to use?
Yeah. I mean, great point, Ryan. And I think, if you're just getting here, there's one thing you want to gain from this. Like, hopefully it's this tool, this tool that the breath is always with you. And I think this is a very simple exercise you can do anytime. It's great for recovery. It's a great sort of like reset, pattern interrupt. If you're having a panic attack or anything, like this is kind of a go-to exercise to do that. Can be very calming, and it's very gentle too. This isn't like this isn't something that's going to disrupt your, disrupt your balance, like in a point where you're going to feel too activated or way too calm. Like, it's not going to put you to sleep. You may get a little tired, but yeah, this is a great exercise for that. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. What we're going to be doing here, pretty simple. We're just going to be breathing our normal pattern, right? We're going to be doing that for a few breaths. So just right now, I want you to just kind of, stay exactly as you are and breathe, right? But I want you to just tune into the breath for a moment. So notice where you're breathing. Notice if you're breathing through your nose, if you're breathing through your mouth. Notice if there's any like tension in the face. Where's your tongue? How are your teeth? What are your eyebrows like? Like all these little things, like just kind of notice them at first on these first few breaths. Notice the shoulders. Are they tensed up? Is the neck tensed back, forward? Is it relaxed? Notice kind of the feet on the ground. All those things that we just kind of tune into to get started. And now what we're going to do is continue to breathe normally here, but after our exhale, and I'll cue you when to do this, but just so you know, after our exhale, we're going to pause the breath. We're going to pause for about 3 to 5 seconds and then resume for 2 breaths. And then we're going to repeat that cycle. So it looks something like this. In, out, pause. In, out, pause. In, out, pause. Okay? So when you're ready, I'll meet you on an inhale and exhale. And then at the bottom, I want you to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let go. Release. Breathe in. Breathe out. Just breathe normally in and out a couple times. All right, on this one, I want you to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normal again. In and out. So don't try to make too many changes to your breath. Just breathe as normal. Another one, in and out. And then at the bottom, I want you to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let go. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Breathing in through your nose, out through your nose, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in and out. So as you hold your breath, what's happening here is nitric oxide pools inside the nasal cavity. And when you breathe in after that breath hold, it carries that nitric oxide into your lungs. So this is actually a vasodilator. It opens up the airways, improves oxygen uptake in the blood. So the next one here, breathe out and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in and out. So that you shouldn't feel stressed during this exercise. If for some people, if they're very sensitive to, build up in carbon dioxide, the breath holds might feel a little bit intense. And if that's the case, just hold the breath for like 2 to 3 seconds. This should feel like a very gentle exercise here. So you just continue on like that. And I mean, we could keep going, but I think that's probably gives you the feel. I'm curious. So how do you feel after that?
I do honestly feel more relaxed. Mm-hmm. Like I feel more present. Beautiful. And even just like you talked about, like the noticing of just the little details, like feet on the floor and like your eyebrows, and like I could kind of feel like what was my posture like and stuff. So yeah, it's one of these things as you're listening to this right now, you're probably thinking, yeah, every time I do this, it's always good. It's kind of like going to the gym. Like we all know we should go and we always feel great afterwards, but having someone just give us that guidance, even on literally breathing, which we do automatically, but that was powerful. So thank you for sharing that. That was really good. Of course. So one of the things that I wanted to make sure we talk about during the episode is stress. And you came from the consulting world where that's, I would say, one of the top, I'm making up this stat, but one of the top 5 industries or like job titles that's just kind of known to be super stressful. You have like doctors, attorneys, consultants, and sometimes accountants, just those kind of things where it was stressful. There's a lot of people, maybe some of you who are listening right now, that regardless of what your occupation is, you feel stressed a lot. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned it earlier, Derek, about just like this go, go, go culture all the time, the glorification of the grind. And I'm just curious, like if there's a business leader or someone maybe in HR who's listening to this, why should they even care about breathing?
It's a phenomenal question. And it's, it's not an easy one.
Right.
Because if we look around, it doesn't seem odd what we're doing. Everybody else is feeling stressed out. Everybody else is working grinding to the bone. And also when I work really hard and I am really stressed and I am, under the gun and deadline and I get it done, like what usually happens, we usually get rewarded for that. We usually get it, we get that external validation that, sometimes we rely on a little, maybe too much. The problem is, whether we, realize it or not, whether we have the awareness of it or not, we're kind of like taxing our nervous system by doing that. Mm-hmm. We're in this go, go, go state is like being in constant fight or flight.
Right.
Having to maintain that level of alertness and focus and reactivity, it takes a lot out of us. And so that's why we're also seeing, some of the like highest levels of medical issues related to chronic stress.
I just had a client literally yesterday. Someone close in her life was diagnosed with cancer. Mm-hmm. And this person in her life had been extremely stressed for the last few months. There was like some job transitions and things like that. And I feel like that stress absolutely played a role in this whole thing happening.
Right. I mean, so many of these autoimmune disorders, cancer and heart disease and a number of these issues, like so many of them are a result of like inflammation and a result of, cortisol levels, hormones being off. Our nervous system is what keeps that all in balance, right? Or strives to keep that all in balance.
Right.
We have, and it's reacting to the, chemistry inside of our body, and it's reacting to this gas exchange that's taking place between carbon dioxide and oxygen, and we have the ability, to regulate that. And that's what makes breathing so unique, is that while it happens automatically, it's only the vital, it's also the only vital function that we can consciously control. Right. So you talk about why, you talk about like, why should people care about breathing? Like, it's something we do every day. And it's part of your question. Or like, for those that are so stressed out, like, why should we consider breathing as a tool for this? And I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. Like, we have the ability to control this part of our body that taps directly into our autonomic nervous system. I forget where I heard this quote, but it was like, the body often whispers before it screams. And like, we have to have the ability to listen. We have to have the ability to pause and hear it. And especially with us with ADHD, as we know, like, that pause, that break can be very difficult, where we're just trying to go and do all the things that are in our head and our orbit. Right.
I just thought about this. If those of us with ADHD, if we don't force ourselves to break, we're going to force ourselves to break.
Mm-hmm.
Hey-o. Yeah. Because you're going to start breaking down. And in fact, when I like your corporate journey, my corporate journey, there's a lot of similarities, as we know. And I just think about how there was many times throughout my 10 to 15 years in corporate where I thought to myself, if I'm being 100% honest, I know this isn't healthy, and I know I cannot maintain this level of intensity. It's just not good for my body.
Right.
And here's my message to everyone who's listening. If you're feeling really stressed right now, whatever the thing is that's stressing you out, I promise it's not worth dying for. It's not. Like, it's not worth getting cancer. It's not worth having a heart attack. But in the moment, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. From a nervous system perspective, it is very much life and death. Like, we're at work, we receive that text, that email, that Slack notification, whatever. You feel that nervous little surge of like energy or stress in your body. And then suddenly your breathing becomes shallow. It's fast. It's in your upper chest, and then that triggers more anxiety, more stress. And then that stress, it triggers more shallow breathing, which triggers more stress. It's this cycle, right? But your nervous system interprets that Slack message the same way that it interprets a mountain lion on the horizon, right? It's fight or flight. It's like, I need to get up. It's flight, freeze, or fawn. There are variations, which could be interesting to get into, but it's interpreted the same way in our body, and so I think we often feel like, oh, this is just the way things are. I shouldn't, like, I just have to deal with it. I have to keep pushing through. Also because everybody else is, and they seem to be okay. No, you need some ways to be able to tap in and to really listen to what's going on and find ways to regulate that. Because we can't be in, overdrive all the time.
Yeah. And I think understanding is always the first step to empowerment to make these changes. And that's what you're talking about. Reminds me a lot of why I chose to partner with ADHD Online, because they're a big fan of understanding your mind so that you can take the empowered steps. So if you're really liking what you're hearing, everyone, check out ADHD Online. You can get $50 off of the assessment. It's just $130 total to get that clarity that you've been seeking. So you can use discount code CoachRyan50 for $50 off. We've had hundreds of people who have taken the assessment, and I just can't empower you enough to do that. So Derek, let's just talk about now, like, kind of the day-to-day, like, for those of us who are out there, we're in the trenches, we're looking around, other people are stressed. Like, what do you tell your clients, or what advice would you have for the listeners?
Yeah. I mean, it starts with going off of what you just mentioned there. Like, the number one key is awareness, and is like using this tool, this something else to focus on, right? Like, I think, again, one of the unique challenges to those with ADHD is that we have so much going on in our brains, and it just feels like you can never do it all. right? So we're constantly like reaching, constantly going forward, constantly trying to do everything on the task list, to whatever. We have this tool, which you could think of it as another thing to do, like, but it's not. Like, that's not what we're not trying to give you another thing on the to-do list, like another habit to have to start. Like, no, it's just forming a new relationship with a deeper relationship with yourself by developing this awareness. Like, first and foremost, can you develop the awareness when you're feeling stressed? Can you notice how you're breathing, right? And throughout the day, can we notice, if we know a couple things that can really help us in terms of establishing better functional breathing habits, it can make a huge impact on the way we feel, right? So am I breathing through my nose first and foremost? Like, we have to stop breathing through our mouths, and we have to understand that this habitual mouth breathing that happens because of a number of these other factors that are leading to stress and anxiety, like, that's going to happen. We have to understand that it's okay. Like, we're going to be breathing through our mouths sometimes, but we need to shift that to our nose.
Last year, Derek and I attended a coaching retreat together, and he was my roommate. And I knew he had been getting into this breathing training, this breath work. So we're getting ready to go to bed as roommates. And I look over, and Derek rips off a piece of tape and literally tapes his mouth shut. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he takes off the tape. He's like, I'm taping my mouth shut. I'm like, yes, I see you're taping your mouth shut. Why are you What are you doing? And he said, I've got to make sure I'm breathing through my nose. Here's the tape. You need to try it too. And I'm like, this is so weird, but okay. So I did it. Can you explain to the listeners who might have been as confused as I was, why nose breathing? Why does that matter?
There are 30 functions to the nose that are related to breathing. There are 0 for the mouth. Like, the mouth was designed to eat and talk, and the nose was designed to breathe. Evolution, like, because of different things that happened throughout our evolution, like, we started to breathe more through our mouth. This goes from everything from like diet to cooking foods to stress, to a number of different things. But breathing through your nose, it filters, warms, moistens the air first and foremost. All those little tiny fine hairs and turbinates in the nose, they have a very vital function in purifying and filtering the air. The nose actually stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. Nasal breathing stimulates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a long nerve that kind of goes down from your brain stem all throughout your body. By doing so, you're allowing your body to activate that calm, that restful state that is necessary. However, during the nighttime, for a number of reasons, again, a lot of them we've already sort of explored, but a lot to do with the stress, right? We're breathing more through our mouths. There's a lot of people have issues with sleep because of this. They have issues with snoring, with sleep apnea, with all sorts of stuff. And basically what you're doing is instead of sleeping at night and getting the rest and recovery that you need by getting into that parasympathetic state, you're just sleeping in fight or flight.
What?
So you wake up with a dry mouth, you wake up with, bad breath, and you're not actually getting the proper oxygen that you need. Because again, you're offloading so much air, you're offloading so much CO2. It also can help with the actual shape of your face. Like, when we breathe through our mouth, it changes the shape of our airways.
Okay, Derek, we covered so much, and I feel like we're going to have you back on the show, because I know how powerful it was just to do that short exercise. And I know that you had more we didn't even get to. Surprise, surprise, because we both have ADHD and we love to talk. It's fine. Where can people find out more about you?
You can head to my website. It's just derekbayton.com. So DerekBayton.com. So yeah, on my website, I kind of describe a little bit more about what I do, and there's a way to get in touch with me there. And it'd be great. And I think if there's one thing that I can leave you with, Ryan, I'll leave your listeners with, again, like with breathing, like, awareness is key. And there are different ways that we can, form a relationship with this, right? We can learn techniques, we can learn exercises, right? Or we could develop a practice. And a practice is something that is constantly evolving. It's something we're constantly having a relationship with, and it's something that we're dedicating towards, or we're investing in ourselves. It's not a pill or a product; it's a practice.
Love that. It's not a pill. It's not a product. It's a practice. And we have the practice of helping to give people knowledge. It's never too late to seek understanding. So if you're looking to get more understanding about your ADHD, check out today's episode sponsor, ADHDonline.com, and use discount code CoachRyan50 at checkout for $50 off. We will have all of Derek's information in the show notes. Please check it out. Derek, it was so great to have you. And thanks to everyone for checking out the More Than ADHD podcast. If you haven't already, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, especially the comment part, that really helps, and share it with anyone you know who breathes, and that will really help us to reach more people. Just remember, your ADHD doesn't define you, because you are more than your ADHD. Coach Derek and I, we both believe in you, and we'll see you and talk to you next time.